Action set to get underway later this week. The Yankees were shocked as anyone when Juan Soto signed with the Mets. Yankees captain Aaron Judge on the move.
I wasn't too surprised by it. You know, you got a pretty nice deal over there. So I think you can't say no to that. But I'm happy for him. You know, he got a good deal. It's going to be great having him in town. We're going to be battling back and forth for quite a few years. So I'm definitely happy for him.
The NBA season resumes tonight following the All-Star break. One game on the schedule. The Hornets visit the Lakers. The game was rescheduled from January the 9th when it was called off due to the LA wildfire. LeBron James is questionable for the game tonight. He sat out the All-Star game for the first time in his 20-year career due to an ankle injury. Bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. That's the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
If winter means spending more time indoors, wouldn't it be great if you could upgrade your space? Well, Macy's is here for you because our President's Day sale is going on right now with big savings on what you need to give your home a refresh. Think 20 to 40% off new furniture, like our exclusive Radley sofa, now $21.99. And take 30 to 60% off a new mattress from Hotel Collection, Serta, and more so you can sleep better. Come into Macy's today and back to a house that feels more like home. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
At Skechers, we put the S in comfort.
Wait. Skechers put the S in comfort?
Yes, comfort you have to feel to believe. Skechers, we put the S in comfort.
Let me try. Okay, I'm just stepping in and... Oh, wow. Skechers put the S in comfort.
Duh, we told you.
Find Skechers slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
If you're not addicted to your phone yet, we've got some bad news. Get the SportsGrid mobile app. That'll do it. Get gaming strategies, odds, and information whenever and wherever you are. Get it. And get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The only place in football where the offense is always on the field is on Moneyline. With the two best hosts in radio, Donnie Rightside.
If anybody wasn't watching, listen, I don't know what you were doing.
And Kevin Walsh.
Forget act like you've been there before.
On the SportsGrid Radio Network, Sirius XM Channel 159.
Let's get after it, people. The best hour of your day officially now underway on a Wednesday. It's hump day. Solo mission today for Donnie Rightside on Moneyline. And away we go. Love it. Love to talk to the people. Love to have some fun. Best way to get a hold of the show. You know all the different ways, right? SportsGrid app. Download it. Use it. Follow your favorite host here on the network. Also, if you're watching through YouTube right now on Restream, easy to do. Well, Donnie, what YouTube channel is it? SportsGrid On Demand. Click on it. Click the subscribe button. Every time we go live on the radio, you'll be able to come in and say hello here. Best way to reach out. Since I would love to take phone calls, but apparently we're not going to be able to do that, reach out on the chat box there. Always available. Always have it up at least on one screen here for us. As I hit the retweet here on X, which you can watch again through live stream, SportsGrid app. It's the way we do it. Let me go live. I'll type it right in here. Come on now. We're an interactive show at this point. Do you want to reach me on Twitter at RightSideVP? If you want to listen on SportsGridRadio.com, SiriusXM Channel 159, and much, much more. It's fantastic. It's the way to do it, but the show is here now. We are looking forward to March Madness, no doubt about it. Today is February 19th. March 2nd, which is next Sunday. Can you believe it? March is almost here already. March 2nd. That's when conference tournament play will begin at the non-Power 5 levels. Like the group of fives, not necessarily yet, but more of those mid-major type / under mid-majors get underway. So March Madness, almost here. It's almost the month of March. You get it? Makes some sense. Now, there are some hot topics we want to get to today, but understand this too. There's a lot of college basketball games on today. Why don't we go line by line, a couple of the big games, see what makes some sense, which way we're leaning in that direction to try to make some money. Yesterday, if you do follow the SportsGrid Network, which you probably do, since you're watching or listening to me live, whether it be on the early line, right here on Moneyline, Pro Football Today, you get the point. Really liked Michigan State yesterday, -3.5 at home against Purdue. They got the win and cover, which was great to watch. But also today, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or so games that I think we have slight advantages in. We'll take a look at some of the lines. We'll take a look at some of the thought process and the handicapping structures of why we start to really dip our toes in the water of college basketball and wait this long because all the numbers are there to dissect. You can make very good educated decisions on a night-to-night basis in conference play. And then once we get to the conference tournaments over the next couple of weeks and then into March Madness, this should be a lot of fun. So make sure you keep the dial, the SiriusXM channel 159, because we are going to get after it once again. A lot of fun, a lot of in-game entertainment throughout the tournament process, right up to the championship game and the Final Four in the first few days of April. But the NFL, of course, is always king. Every time you try to take a look and turn the page, because the NFL is done, they gave us things that we need to talk about, which does include Sao Paulo, Brazil, once again, is going to be in play for the NFL opening week in week number 1. Last year, my Philadelphia Eagles took on the Green Bay Packers in the game 1 opener of the season for those two teams. It was an interesting atmosphere. It was a slippery playing surface that the Eagles edged the Green Bay Packers off on their Super Bowl winning season. The Chargers this year will be the home team in Brazil. Now, we don't know who they're playing yet. Somebody eventually will leak that because it could be one of 9 teams, or let's just say 8 teams or whoever, how many home games they have since they're the home team. Last year, if the Philadelphia Eagles were the home team, were able to get the victory. It's a shame because if you ask the Chargers, honestly, would you rather be in Brazil for a home game or in LA for a home game? You obviously know where that's going to skew. So whoever the Chargers play in game number 1, that's a win for them. Not because they're going to win on the football field, but they don't have to play a true road game here. And it'll be basically a 50-50 split depending on who the actual team is going to be. Now, also the NFL did say that we are going to have a full slate of games, not just in Brazil, but over in London. I believe 3 games are there. Ireland's going to get a game, as well as Germany. So the international marketplace of the NFL is interesting to me because if you are an NFL owner, you say to yourself, money is what it's really about. That's what you own a professional franchise for, first and foremost. Now, some of these guys are so rich that it's just an envy game now of let me win, let me acquire great players, let me be the talk of the town. Every room I walk in, there's the owner of the Eagles, the Patriots, there's the owner of the Giants. You get the picture at this point here. But the problem is with this is when you do start to extend that overseas game, does it water down the product just a little bit? You say, well, Donnie, how could that happen? It's only 1 or 2 games or 5 games now that they're building up to. Somebody brought up a good point this morning. Like, are we the expectation going to be an overseas Super Bowl game in the UK, in Germany, in Brazil at that point? Like, when is enough at that point to try to say, we're not going to do this? And the only reason I bring this up is the NFL is a precious commodity. Right now, only 17 games over 18 weeks. You send a few games overseas, it doesn't seem like a big deal. Home teams here, like the Chargers, if you're fan base, you lose a home game. The Philadelphia Eagles last year lost a home game to the Green Bay Packers, which they would have loved to just been at home at Lincoln Financial Field. Would have been a much easier circumstance. And also the fans, they want to see their team as many as they can. They don't want to give up home games per se, right? But when you start to take a look at that international market, what are the other teams doing this? Like, put this on a realm of, like, I don't even know how to say the Champions League final being in Los Angeles when there are no Champions League teams in the United States, right? How else can I look at this? Like an EPL game. Let's just say the biggest EPL game of the season. And I'm just like throwing 2 teams out there. Manchester City versus Manchester. It's the final week of the season. The winner of that game wins the EPL. Like, that game would take place in Chicago. No other sports league would do that. But frankly, it doesn't even make sense. Like, and also, where are we on a trajectory? Like, is the NBA going to do this or the NHL? Like, hey, you know what? You know, it'd be awesome. NBA Finals, Singapore. Like, no. NBA Finals in your home arenas, whether it's Boston, Los Angeles, Philadelphia, Detroit, Milwaukee, whoever it might be. Because, and I don't mind the teams going overseas to play. And I understand why they're doing that, to grow the game, which means more revenue streams and bring in more fans. Understandable. But it seems like no league is going to the length more than the NFL, where it used to be, hey, we'll send you a preseason game. We'll send you a 1 regular season game. Now we're up to multiple games here, including maybe a Super Bowl goes. But hear me out on this too. If you are going to have the overseas games, I do like the Friday game, to be honest, to open the season in Brazil. Still relatively on East Coast time per se, right? You fill that game in at 8 o'clock on a Friday night opening weekend. I do love that. But you know what I don't actually like? And it's not because I work, because it does add background and bets that you can sort of cheer in and give updates to. But Pro Football Today, which we do on the SportsGrid Network, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. That NFL game, which is usually in the UK on Sunday mornings, is 9 a.m. Like, why do we do that? Honestly. Like, if I was commissioner, which you know I want to be commissioner of every sport, we would have every single overseas game that the NFL plays be on a Friday night. Like, why not? Like, why can't we make that happen? Doesn't that make sense? Like, you as a consumer out there, do you enjoy the 9 a.m. Sunday game? Which, again, if I wasn't working sometimes and it's a bad game, I might even forget that it's on. And I usually don't like to stick up for the West Coast. But a 6 a.m. start, like, how's that better? Like, if you're on the West Coast, how about 5 p.m. on a Friday? Banger football game on to start off your NFL weekend, along with a Thursday night game. So you go Thursday, Friday, Sunday, Monday. Fantastic. Sign me up for more. The Sunday morning 9 a.m. always just feels like a little bit out of reach for most of the people to get down with, unless it's a true, unbelievable game, which, quite frankly, they usually never are. Just food for thought at this point. Also, Major League Spring Training about to be underway with games. I saw a picture today that is like, come on, man. What are we doing? Johnny Wright's out here. Solo mission, Moneyline, and we'll be right back.
The kind that laughs at their losing friends when they win. As a SportsGrid listener, you should be more considerate. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
This update brought to you by Cintas. 8 green sea turtles were released back into the Atlantic Ocean on Tuesday, nearly a month after an Arctic blast brought a rare snowfall to northern Florida and left the aquatic reptiles suffering from a condition known as cold stunning. A total of 17 sea turtles found stranded last month along Florida's northeastern Atlantic coast were brought to the Loggerhead Marine Life Center in Juno Beach, north of West Palm Beach, for rehabilitation. It snowed as far south as northern Florida, which is extremely rare, and the frigid temperatures reached South Florida. Rapper A$AP Rocky was found not guilty Tuesday of firing a handgun at a former friend on a Hollywood street in 2021. The 36-year-old hip-hop star, fashion mogul, and burgeoning actor, whose legal name is Rakeem Mayers, risked more than 24 years in prison if he had been convicted. On the eve of trial, he turned down a prosecution offer of just 6 months in jail, along with probation and other conditions if he would plead guilty to one count. I'm Trey Westerberg with the SportsGrid News Flash.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Progressive knows finding your new home was a dream come true. You wanted a walk-up with central air and a skylight, and you found it. Now, every Friday night, you get to fall asleep to the sound of your downstairs neighbors' dance parties. Progressive can't save you from your noisy neighbors, but we can save you money when you bundle your home and auto with us. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers not available.
There are too many people addicted to their phones these days, unless it's to look or listen to the SportsGrid mobile app. In fact, you should delete all your apps but ours.
Your wife texts you too much anyway.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
How excited are we for baseball out there, people? You getting ready for it? Coming up pretty soon. And by the way, what is the opening of MLB season? Because I know we have opening day for the rest of the league. All but 2 teams will open the regular season on March 27th, 9 days after the Cubs and the Dodgers play that first game in Japan, which I can't stand either. You know what? I didn't even expect that to fold into it, but as I tease, there's one picture that I saw which really gets me angry. But now I just say, when is opening day? So now we play non-opening games / opening games in Japan, and stop it. No other sport would do this. Opening day is opening day. You want to have 2 games over in Britain, which I think the Phillies and the Mets had, I think it was last year. That's all fine and good. You want to have 2 games in the middle of the season where the Dodgers take on the Cubs in Japan on a Tuesday, Wednesday, so bad. But opening day is special. It's supposed to be think about this. The Dodgers and the Cubs play those first games in Japan 9 days before the opener. Or opening day, I should say. So they're going to play regular season games. Then you know what they do, guys? They fly home and play preseason games, spring training games. Make it make sense because it doesn't. Can you imagine the Philadelphia Eagles and the Green Bay Packers who played in Sao Paulo last year, play 2 weeks before opening day as a regular season game, then still have a preseason game before the regular season starts? This is stupid. It's dumb. It gets me upset. And I didn't expect to be upset about that. But I am excited for baseball coming up. Baseball is that one true thing that always has your back because it's every single day outside of the All-Star break. Multiple games and Major League Baseball has done a great job of spreading the wealth Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Used to be 10 years ago, 15 years ago, hey, we're going to do 3 games on a Monday or multiple games on a Wednesday, but nothing they give you day games. They give you a full slate on Mondays. It is really good, and I enjoy it. But I did see this picture, which was retweeted by Jason La Canfora. Used to be a friend of the network, used to do Pro Football Today. I used to have some guest appearances on Sundays. And the picture is it says, it's spring training for the left field wall too. And Jason La Canfora is a Baltimore guy. That is a picture that they're showing, and I'm looking at right now, of Oriole Park at Camden Yards. One of the treasures of Major League Baseball throughout the past, I think it opened up around 1990, 1989. So let's go all through the 90s, 10 years, the 2000s, 20 years, up to 2020, 30 years. Let's call it 30 plus years. The gold standard of Major League Baseball ballparks. It's beautiful. Aesthetically, where it's placed in the city, and the way it used to play. And for some reason, they felt like it was best to absolutely take a jackhammer to the left field grandstand and move that fence all the way back where now you had to hit 450-foot bombs just to clear left field for a home run. And they realized how stupid that looked and how nobody liked it, including their own players. So now I see a picture as I zoom in to Camden Yards and see they're redoing the wall once again. And it looks like it's moving in about, let's say, 10 feet or so in some spots, 15 feet in others, with a jagged wall in a corner, which means you're going to have funny bounces. When they absolutely had the most beautiful ballpark in Major League Baseball. Why the change? We'll never know. Too many people coming in here and hitting home runs off us to left field. Do the same thing. Isn't that what most teams do? Build towards what your ballpark is. If it's a pitcher's ballpark, bring the pitchers out there. Stack your lineup. If it's a hitter's ballpark, make sure you have fly ball batters. If the stadium is too giant to hit home runs in, make sure you have a lot of contact hitters and a lot of speed out there on the diamond. Right? So I see this stupid-looking wall once again in left field, and it makes me angry. It just does. You got to be kidding me here. Just keep the ballpark safe. And by the way, it's not as if it hasn't happened in multiple ballparks. Do you remember when Detroit opened up? What is it even called now? It's not Tiger Stadium anymore. Oh, Comerica now, excuse me, Comerica. They put those walls so deep out there that they had to go in the next year and shave off 30 feet around the entire ballpark so their hitters would be like, you know what? You just got to trade me. You can't hit in this field. You can't hit home runs. The Philadelphia Phillies made a mistake when they opened up Citizens Bank Ballpark a long time ago by making the field too small, which actually had to cut out rows to move the field back. And also, one of my favorite things ever. Howard Eskin used to be a longtime reporter in the city of Philadelphia. It was on 94 WYSP, which was 94 WIP for the longest time. They built the ballpark, and it was immediately this is a bandbox. This can't be correct. So if you remember, and most of you probably don't, the Phillies used the wrong yardage/feet on the wall. And it took a reporter to go out there with one of those little, you ever see the golf handheld devices where you put up to your eye? Take a look at that target, which I'm doing right now if you're watching on the YouTube channel, and you click it. Okay, yep, I'm 146 feet from the pin. Bam, got it. I'm 190 yards from the dog leg. Got it. Zeroed it in. Well, he took one of those out there and figured that the Phillies actually placed, like, let's just say the 375 sign, 30 feet in the wrong direction to try to make it appear that the field was bigger than it was. So had to change some things and actually move a few seats out in left field and push the wall back just so it wasn't ridiculous. They had a little flower bed out in left field that it seemed like every single can of corn fly ball absolutely ended up in that flower bed. So baseball teams do get it wrong. It is up to you to correct it. But what they did to Camden Yards with the Baltimore Orioles just looks like it's going to be even worse now. And it looks like they're not even going to have stands even filled in with the extra seats, so it looks like it's pushed back even further. There's no reason for this. Also, you know another team that did that? Citi Field up for the New York Mets. Do you see it out in the outfield and the left field where they have like that party pavilion? Yeah, that was never there before. That was like the biggest ballpark ever built in the history of mankind, and the Mets realized, oh, we made a mistake. Boy, we wanted a pitcher's ballpark, but now what hitter is going to want to come here and actually play? Because why? Nobody's going to be able to hit home runs to left field at this point. They had to bring those fences in with the party pavilion, people. College basketball, big night tonight. Let's hit a quick recap from yesterday and hit college hardwood tonight. It's boy down the right side. It's a solo mission. Sirius XM Channel 159, SportsGrid Network.
Get SportsGrid on the radio, TV, our mobile app, or the internet. In other words, if you can't hear us, you're the problem. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. The SportsGrid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
And on the first gun, we have a good start with Eric Heiden starting on the inner lane.
1980 American speed skater Eric Heiden wins the 1,000 meter in Olympic record time for his third of a record 5 gold medal sweep at Lake Placid.
No one, winter or summer, has ever won 5 individual gold medals in Olympic competition.
For SportsGrid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
Full self-driving cars are still not reality, but most modern vehicles now offer some kind of driving assistance like lane keeping or automatic braking. New North Carolina State research tests 3 ways to get a distracted human driver to take control. Number 1, warning bells. 2, spoken instructions.
Please avoid the bridge abutment.
And number 3, a more conversational approach.
Tell me, what did you eat for lunch? By the way, that's a bus.
And the winner, conversation.
I'm not sure where we're going, but I'm sure we'll get there eventually.
Follow me at G Capalbo on X. And stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
The early line.
The Chargers can certainly make some moves. So question number 1 for LA this offseason, where on offense should the Bolts invest that money?
Wide out, and more wide outs here. You should be eating on the outside. Not have a guy like Quentin Johnston who can't catch a football. It's 50-50 at best that the ball hits him in the hands or in the face while he's wide open.
It's the early line with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Weekdays, 8 a.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific on the SportsGrid Radio Network. Apparently, some of you are confusing the winning edge with luck.
And we say nay, nay.
The winning edge is sports gaming strategies and information you can use to create your own luck. Step 1,
keep it here.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Right back at it, people. How about this? A little college basketball talk. Did you know right now, if you head over to the FanDuel Sportsbook leader in the clubhouse right now with odds, the Auburn Tigers at a plus 330 price, followed by Duke plus 450, Houston 9-1, Florida 9-1, Alabama plus 950. Those are the 5 teams with the best odds to win the national championship this season. Auburn SEC, Duke ACC, Houston Big 12, Florida SEC, Alabama SEC, and by the way, behind them is Tennessee 17-1, SEC, Iowa State 20-1, Big 12. Some of those conferences coming in at this point here, crazy. Jason W. writes in, at Right Side VP, Comerica Park in Detroit moved those fences in twice, and the ballpark is 25 years old. Yeah, I remember that, too. It's just such an odd-looking ballpark as well. Like, you hit a home run to left field. It's like, where's that bad boy actually going to land at this point? It was a giant ballpark that they built out there, and I think Miguel Cabrera was like, you know what? I'll leave if this place doesn't get brought in. I mean, titanic shots to left field. Not even warning track power back in the day. So, yes, Comerica Park changes. It's a shame how some of these teams don't think it out all that thoroughly before they actually put the stadium into play. It happens. It does. But let's talk some college basketball. Just went over some of the odds here to win and be a national champion. And by the way, the Wooden Award, the best player in college basketball, not over yet. Cooper Flagg for Duke. Very good team. Very good player. -170. Johnny Broome, Auburn. Best team in the country. Best player on the best team. A +125 price. Tough schedule heading out. We'll see who can do what. But last night, there were a couple key games I do want to go over specifically in the top 25. Florida 85, Oklahoma 63 last night. Handicapping that game on the early line, I said Florida's probably going to be able to do whatever they want to on offense, and they did with 85 points. But by the way, outlets yesterday, 85.5, 84.5. That line lands rated 85, I should say the final score for Florida at 85. Florida's really good. There's no sugarcoating it. They play in the toughest conference in basketball right now, which is the SEC. Oklahoma does stink, and Oklahoma doesn't play great defense and has a pretty good tempo, which led to Florida really peeling away. But at the break, it's one of those where you're saying, ooh, I hope I can get that total, 46-24. Like, you would have wanted 46-34 at least. That blowout said, you know what? Florida scored 46 in the first, didn't need a lot of points in the second half, scored 39, but got right to that 85 number. One of the games I also looked at as a possibility, and I didn't find out because I didn't bet it, what the total actually was. You know, sometimes you go like, you know what? That game probably trends to an under, or a certain basketball team is going to trend to an under. Thought Houston would win the game. They did. They won it easily by 15 points on the road against Arizona State, which improves Houston now to 14-1 overall in their division. In the conference. That is tremendous for Houston. But I thought Arizona State's team total would stay under the 65. Just perusing over the box score in this game, Arizona State did shoot 43% from the field and 36% from three-point range, and actually got to the free throw line 26 times. You know, Houston is prone to foul at this point, or most points, I should say. The Houston Cougars also, guys, in that game, they shot 48% as a team. But how about this? You wouldn't think of Houston as a three-point shooting team. 48% from the three-point line yesterday. It was actually 48.1 as a team from the field and 47.8% from the three-point line. So essentially, both shot 48%. And also, knocking in free throws, 17 of 20, good for 85% as a team. That's going to win a lot of basketball games. One of the games we did like yesterday, Mississippi State, Texas A&M. And the question was, which way are we going to go? And I said both, because I couldn't make a decision. It was Josh Hubbard. You know he likes to rise and fire. Had a team-high 35 minutes yesterday in a win over Texas A&M, and was very efficient. 6 of 10 from the floor, which included 3 of 6 from three-point range, but also 10 of 11 from the free throw line. His points prompt yesterday was 16.5 points. He ends up scoring 25. But they know stuff, books. And what we say is the smartest man in the room usually is the handicapper. They wouldn't let you take anything below 4 3-point shots made for Josh Hubbard. Because other books were showing like a -200 at 3 3-point shots made and like a +160 at 4 3-point shots made. So what does he finish up? 3 for 6 from three-point range. Just the way it always goes here. Colorado State, Iowa State, easy win for Iowa State, 79-65. Colorado was brutal, 10-16 on the season, 1-14 in the Big 12. TCU pulls out a game against Texas Tech, 69-66. Wisconsin. Not your father's Wisconsin, people. 95 points in a 95-74 victory over the Fighting Illini. That's a fun team to watch. They splash 3-point shots. They play with more tempo. They used to be moving at a glacier's pace, like Virginia. Not anymore, people. We'll hit a couple more quick recaps from yesterday and dip our toes into the water on an Wednesday night in college basketball. What we do with the SportsGrid Network, keep you informed, keep you happy.
Losers rely on luck. Winners depend on getting the information they need.
Winners depend on us.
The home of the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Progressive presents the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders. Men's top 25 hoops last night. Number 5, Houston beat Arizona State 80-65. Number 19, Marquette 80-56 winners at home over Seton Hall. Number 2, Florida beat Oklahoma 85-63. Number 21, Mississippi State 70-54 winners over number 7, Texas A&M. Number 8, Iowa State 79-65 over Colorado. TCU upset number 9, Texas Tech 69-66. Number 11, Wisconsin scored a 95-74 win over Illinois. Number 14, Michigan State nipped number 13, Purdue 75-66. BYU blew out number 23, Kansas 91-57. Women's top 25 last night. Number 24, Oklahoma State beat Utah 68-64. The NBA regular season resumes tonight. The Lakers are home against the Charlotte Hornets. Bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. That's the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
If winter means spending more time indoors, wouldn't it be great if you could upgrade your space? Well, Macy's is here for you because our President's Day sale is going on right now with big savings on what you need to give your home a refresh. Think 20 to 40% off new furniture, like our exclusive Radley sofa, now $21.99. And take 30 to 60% off a new mattress from Hotel Collection, Serta, and more, so you can sleep better. Come into Macy's today and back to a house that feels more like home. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
Mornings can start feeling the same. Wake up, brush teeth, go to work. But with breakfast from Wendy's, it's like, wake up, brush teeth, Baconate with a breakfast Baconator. Roll with a sausage breakfast burrito. Buddy it up with a honey buddy. Or get seasoned with seasoned potatoes. And then go to work. Sorry. When you're ready for a fresh wake-up call, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
When you're a player,
advantage is important.
That would be bringing you sports gaming strategies and information
7 days a week.
We call it the winning edge. Everybody else calls it
unfair.
Hate the game, not the player, dude.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Rocking and rolling here. College basketball season, it's official. Yeah, it's been underway for a long time, but not with your boy DRS. The sole focus over the next couple weeks we can look at
Progressive presents the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders. The NBA season resumes tonight following the All-Star break. One game on the schedule. The Hornets visit the Lakers. The game was rescheduled from January the 9th when it was called off due to the LA wildfires. The Hornets have lost 3 in a row in 9 of their last 10. The Lakers, meanwhile, have wins in 8 of 10. LeBron James is questionable for the game tonight. He sat out the All-Star game for the first time in his 20-year career due to an ankle injury. Men's top 25 hoops last night. Number 5, Houston beat Arizona State 80-65. Number 19, Marquette 80-56 winners at home over Seton Hall. Number 2, Florida beat Oklahoma 85-63. Number 21, Mississippi State 70-54 winners over number 7, Texas A&M. Number 8, Iowa State 79-65 over Colorado. TCU upset number 9, Texas Tech 69-66. Bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. That's the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce.
It's Spruce, the new hard-working, worry-free weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people and pets. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Weeds die by the next day. Find Spruce wherever weed killers are sold.
Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer lets you easily compare direct rates from different insurance companies, so you can be confident you're getting the right one, even if it's not with Progressive. Way more confident than you were when you tried online gaming. Who knew 12-year-old boys could be so mean? And where did they learn to swear like that? 2 hours of losing to these underage trash talkers, and you're starting to question if maybe you really should stick to pickleball and other boomer stuff. So use Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer and be confident you're getting insurance that's right for you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
The new SportsGrid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts, in-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more, all in one place. And of course, on the SportsGrid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime, on the go, wherever you are. Download the SportsGrid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
For anyone who's worried about back taxes, has not filed tax returns, and doesn't know what to do next, stop and listen. Not filing your taxes can have severe consequences, especially in this political climate. Now that COVID is over, the IRS is getting aggressive, massively increasing enforcement and collection efforts. With politicians making all sorts of promises, especially when it comes to taxes, hiding and not dealing with your taxes will cause you harsh legal and financial ramifications. But right now, the IRS offers forgiveness and writes off a massive amount of tax debt. The Tax Doctor offers a free service that helps people get out of IRS collections and back in good standing with the government. Don't hide or bury your head in the sand. Take advantage of our free service. Call now to learn more. 800-816-4492. 800-816-4492. 800-816-4492. That's 800-816-4492.
Moneyline.
You take a look at Purdue, 11th in fouling in conference play. Why is that important? Who's the best free throw shooting team in the Big Ten? It is Michigan State. And you take a look at the point distribution. Who's number one at scoring the percentage of their points from the free throw line in Big Ten play? It's Michigan State. In a close basketball game that they are favored in, they'll make their free throws. But I had to pick a side. I would lay with Michigan State.
Catch Moneyline with Donnie Rightside and Kevin Walsh. Weekdays, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific on the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
Full self-driving cars are still not reality, but most modern vehicles now offer some kind of driving assistance like lane keeping or automatic braking. New North Carolina State research tests 3 ways to get a distracted human driver to take control. Number 1, warning bells. 2, spoken instructions.
Please avoid the bridge abutment.
And number 3, a more conversational approach.
Tell me, what did you eat for lunch? By the way, that's a bus.
And the winner, conversation.
I'm not sure where we're going, but I'm sure we'll get there eventually.
Follow me, at Capalbo on X, and stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
The SportsGrid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
And on the first gun, we have a good start with Eric Heiden starting on the inner lane.
1980 American speed skater Eric Heiden wins the 1,000 meter in Olympic record time for his third of a record 5 gold medal sweep at Lake Placid.
No one, winter or summer, has ever won 5 individual gold medals in Olympic competition.
For SportsGrid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
Progressive presents the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders. Men's top 25 hoops last night. Number 5, Houston beat Arizona State 80-65. Number 19, Marquette 80-56 winners at home over Seton Hall. Number 2, Florida beat Oklahoma 85-63. Number 21, Mississippi State 70-54 winners over number 7, Texas A&M. Number 8, Iowa State 79-65 over Colorado. TCU upset number 9, Texas Tech 69-66. Number 11, Wisconsin scored a 95-74 win over Illinois. Number 14, Michigan State nipped number 13, Purdue 75-66. BYU blew out number 23, Kansas 91-57. Women's top 25 last night. Number 24, Oklahoma State beat Utah 68-64. The NBA regular season resumes tonight. The Lakers are home against the Charlotte Hornets. Bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. That's the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
Right back, people. Right back. I'm sorry for the technical difficulties, but it does happen. I'm sitting here spinning my wheels, talking to you, the good public out there, and doing it by myself. So I was hosting my own radio show where nobody was listening. So thanks for your patience at that point. Just refreshing a couple things on my desktop because we got some big business and some big dealings tonight in college basketball. I was reviewing the games from yesterday, how good it looked there for Michigan State, and I told you minus 2.5 or minus 3.5. We're going to win that one, and we did. So let's get down to some action today. And I just have some notes taken. I don't have anything technically that is wagered, yes, but sort of handicapping on the fly, as we like to say. Alabama and Missouri. Alabama and Missouri. Let me just make sure I hit a refresh here on this. Let's get this right. All right, Alabama and Missouri tonight. Probably the game of the night that you're going to lock into. You take a look at the total in this game. It is extremely high. Let's get these updated numbers in here. Alabama, 171.5 is the total for that game. Favorites, which opened Alabama at minus 1.5, has now shifted over to Missouri at minus 1.5. So you have that reverse line movement that you like, and 80% of the public on Alabama. I get that. But let's take a look at where this game makes sense here and where we can actually maybe do some damage. In conference play, as we know, Alabama is the number one most efficient offense in conference play by a wide margin. They're great at the three-point shot, great inside the two. That's where you understand they break bread. And they play at a breakneck pace, which is why that total is so high. But looking at Missouri on offense, it's not a bad offense. There are 16 teams in the SEC. They're fifth in efficiency here, fifth in effective field goal percentage, number one at getting to the free throw line. They also love to shoot the three-point shot, and they love to take three-point shots. Number two in conference play at making the three-point shot. Number two in conference play at taking the three-point shot. But you know who's third in conference play at defending the three-point line? It's Alabama. You know who's number one in conference play at chasing you off of the three-point line? It is Alabama. We're going to get back to this game right after the break to show you which team total we might be looking at here. It's your boy DRS. It's a Wednesday. It's the Sports Grid Network, and we will be right back.
Every day we have one job:
to make bells ring.
And we do exactly that by giving you the winning edge. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
Progressive presents the Sports Grid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders. The NBA season resumes tonight following the All-Star break. One game on the schedule. The Hornets visit the Lakers. The game was rescheduled from January the 9th when it was called off due to the LA wildfires. The Hornets have lost 3 in a row in 9 of their last 10. The Lakers, meanwhile, have wins in 8 of 10. LeBron James is questionable for the game tonight. He sat out the All-Star game for the first time in his 20-year career due to an ankle injury. Men's top 25 hoops last night. Number 5, Houston beat Arizona State 80-65. Number 19, Marquette 80-56 winners at home over Seton Hall. Number 2, Florida beat Oklahoma 85-63. Number 21, Mississippi State 70-54 winners over number 7, Texas A&M. Number 8, Iowa State 79-65 over Colorado. TCU upset number 9, Texas Tech 69-66. Bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. That's the Sports Grid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce.
It's Spruce, the new hard-working, worry-free weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people and pets. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Weeds die by the next day. Find Spruce wherever weed killers are sold.
Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer lets you easily compare direct rates from different insurance companies, so you can be confident you're getting the right one, even if it's not with Progressive. Way more confident than you were when you tried online gaming. Who knew 12-year-old boys could be so mean? And where did they learn to swear like that? 2 hours of losing to these underage trash talkers, and you're starting to question if maybe you really should stick to pickleball and other boomer stuff. So use Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer and be confident you're getting insurance that's right for you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Every real player will tell you somewhere
They have an advantage.
it could be either physical, mental, or both. In your case, it's strategies and information you get right here.
The home of the winning edge.
This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
SEC people, that's the game we were talking about. Maybe the best game of the night. Alabama and Missouri tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern from Mizzou Arena in Columbia, Missouri. Just going over that Missouri team total, which they have a great offense. Alabama plays with great tempo, but it's 86.5. And sometimes styles do make fights. And as I talked about, the Missouri offense, pretty efficient. They love to get to the free throw line. Alabama doesn't foul all that much. And you take a look at just the style components here. One team loves to shoot the three-point shot. One team will defend it and chase you off the three-point line, making it harder to score. The one interesting thing about the Alabama defense, they are number one in conference play and point distribution at scoring at the rim. So you say to yourself, okay, that's perfect. So if Missouri's three bars aren't going down or they can't shoot a lot, you can just get to the rim against Alabama. Makes sense in theory until you realize point distribution for Missouri, 16th in conference play inside the arc. See where we're going there? They don't get a lot of points at the rim, which is where you need to attack Alabama. Then if you take a look at point distribution from the free throw line, Missouri's the best in conference play. Did you know 23% of the offense from Missouri, scoring-wise, comes at the free throw line? 11th at allowing points from the free throw line, is Alabama. It's another good match. So if Alabama's not going to foul a lot, if Alabama's not going to let you shoot the three-point shot, you better get a lot of buckets at the rim for Missouri. So for me, I do lean towards the 86.5 team total to the under for the Missouri Tigers in that game tonight. If we just keep looking at some of the bigger games out here, which one I thought was quite interesting. Let me just list this here by fan match so we can get the good games right out of the gate here. Let's see what we got here. Now, it's coming up as Temple here. That's not really what we wanted. There we go. Okay. Penn State and Nebraska is another interesting one that I circled tonight. And it was, again, a lean towards the Penn State under. So let me see if we can find this quickly on the rotation to see what that number actually is. This game is going to start at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, not a top 20 game. So we'll try to find it by line. All right, Penn State getting 1.5 at home against Nebraska and a total of 149.5. If we look at Penn State, that's the team I'm looking towards here for an under total. Their number tonight is listed at 74.5 points. Now, again, if we just look at conference play here, there are 18 teams in the Big Ten. 17th in efficiency is Penn State's offense. 15th, by the way, in efficiency in Nebraska's offense. So you're not getting two efficient teams by any stretch here in the Big Ten tonight. But understand this. Penn State's offense, not efficient, does move pretty quickly. Turnover percentage, 16 out of 18 teams at turning the basketball over. Offensive rebounding position, 16th out of 18 teams here at getting second chance points. Now, Penn State is the best team in conference play at getting to the free throw line. You know who's number one in conference play at not fouling in the Big Ten? It's Nebraska. So if we're saying to ourselves, all right, how about three-point shooting for Penn State? 15th in conference play out of 18. Does Nebraska defend it all that well? No, they don't. And by the way, you can take a lot of shots. 17th out of 18th is Nebraska on defense in the Big Ten at letting you shoot the three-point shot. So those numbers will be there, but not a great three-point shooting team by any stretch with Penn State. Inside the arc, not great. And also, by the way, 16th stingiest defense in Nebraska at scoring inside the arc against them. That's good. But getting back to the free throws, because I think that's going to be the difference here. Penn State, number one at getting to the line, also number two in point distribution, which means close to 23% of their points come directly from the free throw line. The stingiest team in the Big Ten with point distribution from the free throw line, it's Nebraska. So you see how we play this one out? Instead of looking at the game itself, who's going to win? Penn State under 74.5 makes sense to me because the one thing that Penn State does extremely well is the one thing on defense that Nebraska knows how to stop. They don't foul, and they don't give up points from the free throw line. So right there makes me really like that game as well. So again, haven't bet it yet, but just the thought process of playing it out here. Missouri's team total under 86.5. Penn State's team total under 74.5. Let's take a look at that Arkansas game. So let me just go down. We'll see if we can bring that up here. Arkansas and Auburn. You look at that and you say, okay, Auburn's the number one team in the country, fresh off of winning a game on the road against Alabama, who came in number two to that game. Arkansas's offense in the SEC, not very good. 16 teams, by the way, in the SEC. Arkansas is 13th most efficient there. Effective field goal position, even worse, 15th. By the way, Auburn's defense in effective field goal position, or percentage, number one in conference play. You take a look at turning the basketball over. Auburn's defense is pretty good at that. Arkansas doesn't really have an issue with turning it over. It's not too bad. They don't rebound all that well, Arkansas, but Auburn does foul quite a bit here. 15th out of 16 teams. But if you take a look at the overall offensive structure, 3-point percentage, 13th out of 16 for Arkansas in the SEC. 2-point percentage, 15th out of 16 in the SEC. Field goal percentage, pretty good as a team, 73%. But when you're eyeing it up and say, all right, so let's get into the crux of what they want to do. Arkansas doesn't score from the three-point line. It's not what they do. 13th in conference play at 3-point field goals per field goal attempts out of 16. Not good. Very good defense for Auburn, so we take that out of the equation. But also, it's not a layup line going against Auburn's defense. 6th in conference play at point distribution, matched up with who? 6th overall in offensive 2-point distribution for Arkansas. You can score, as I said, with Auburn from the free throw line. And that's where maybe an advantage comes in for Arkansas. But if we are looking at Arkansas in this game as another chance for a possible team total under, let me just bring up what that number is. We're at a top 25 games tonight. This game is at 9 o'clock. 151.5 is now the total in this game. 16.5 as a favorite by Auburn. And if we take a look at that points number, where's that structure coming here? So Arkansas total points, 67.5 in that game. Now, this is a little bit lower. Could be a blowout. Who knows if that defensive intensity for Auburn is going to be there in the second half. And primarily after they did line up against the number 2 team in the country on Saturday in the Iron Bowl on the hardwood and were able to win that game. But as a team total type of under night here, I got a couple more that we want to take a look at tonight to have some fun with, and maybe a team total to the over. How about that? It's a Wednesday. It's a hump day. It's the SportsGrid Network. It's your boy DRS. Come on back to us.
A sports gamer who relies on luck never makes the same mistake twice.
It's usually 3 or more times.
We're the home of the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. The new SportsGrid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the SportsGrid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime. On the go, wherever you are. Download the SportsGrid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
For anyone who's worried about back taxes, has not filed tax returns, and doesn't know what to do next, stop and listen. Not filing your taxes can have severe consequences, especially in this political climate. Now that COVID is over, the IRS is getting aggressive, massively increasing enforcement and collection efforts. With politicians making all sorts of promises, especially when it comes to taxes, hiding and not dealing with your taxes will cause you harsh legal and financial ramifications. But right now, the IRS offers forgiveness and writes off a massive amount of tax debt. The Tax Doctor offers a free service that helps people get out of IRS collections and back in good standing with the government. Don't hide or bury your head in the sand. Take advantage of our free service. Call now to learn more. 800-816-4492. 800-816-4492. 800-816-4492. That's 800-816-4492.
Moneyline.
You take a look at Purdue, 11th in fouling in conference play. Why is that important? Who's the best free throw shooting team in the Big Ten? It is Michigan State. And you take a look at the point distribution. Who's number 1 at scoring the percentage of their points from the free throw line in Big Ten play? It's Michigan State. In a close basketball game that they are favored in, they'll make their free throws. But I had to pick a side. I would lay with Michigan State.
Catch Moneyline with Donnie Rightside and Kevin Walsh. Weekdays, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific. On the SportsGrid Radio Network. We deliver the skinny, the 411, the dirt, the tea, the cookie, TMI, FYI, APB, FAQ, Intel, Snitch, Signal, Spec, Retcon, Wikipedia, Docs, Hard Drive, Helabyte, Tidbit, Anecdate, Education, Exclamation, Ultrification, Information
on daily sporting events.
Get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Want to head out to Wintrust Arena tonight, people? You in there? Chicago, Illinois, shout it out. St. John's Red Storm invade DePaul. This game's probably going to be a blowout. And if we take a look at the line itself here on FanDuel, 12.5 points is a road favorite for the Johnnies. Over 143.5. Now, if we analyze this game, you know where I'm going. We're not looking at St. John's to win by margin of close to 14 points. We're not looking at that total of 143.5, saying to ourselves, oh my goodness, it's too high. Let's just focus on one side of the basketball. It's DePaul's offense taking on St. John's defense here. 11 teams in the Big East. Efficiency, DePaul 10th. St. John's defense, number 1. Effective field goal percentage, which takes in a look at turnovers, rebounds, free throws, and how you make it. 9 out of 11 for DePaul, number 1 for St. John's. Turnover percentage, which means you dribbling the ball up the basketball court, turning it over close to 20% of the time. That's DePaul. You know who's number 1 in conference play at turning it over? St. John's. 3-point percentage, 10th out of 11 for DePaul's offense. However, they love to shoot the 3-point shot. 44.5% of their shots get taken from 3-point range. Now, you can shoot over 41% of your shots against that St. John's defense from 3-point range. That's what they give up. They defend it decently here. Inside the arc, you know who's number 1 at defending the 2? That is St. John's. Also, blocking. Number 2 in conference play at blocking your shot, it's St. John's. Number 11th in conference play at getting your shot blocked, it's DePaul. Doesn't it just make sense right there? Spell it out. 65.5 at home is DePaul's team total. Why not lean towards that under as well? Now, St. John's does like to play pretty fast on offense. DePaul doesn't. But we shouldn't be stealing free throws late in the game because St. John's shouldn't be fouling. It shouldn't be over-aggressiveness here. They're going to turn the basketball over. St. John's, slow it down. Just play great defense. Look at all these unders we're looking at. Now, one game I do want to take a look at here is Kentucky. They're taking on Vanderbilt tonight, 162.5. Pretty healthy total. And Kentucky is favored by 4.5 points. So if I'm looking at an over, let me just see in this game here because we're going to try to settle up in a second. 84.5 for Kentucky. So let me just write that number down here. Okay, 84.5. All right. The 3-point shots in this game, they should go down. Let me just click on and see what we have here. Kentucky's offense, 4th overall out of 16 teams in the SEC. Vanderbilt's defense, guys, efficiency, 16th, dead last. Ooh, here we go. Effective field goal percentage for Kentucky in the SEC this year, number 1. Vanderbilt's effective field goal percentage on defense, dead last at 16th. They'll turn you over a little bit. They'll foul you a lot. But when it comes down to who can make the 3-point shot, Kentucky should be living from the 3-point line tonight. Number 1 in conference play is Kentucky at making the 3-point shot at close to 41% as a team. Do you know who's dead last at defending the 3-point line? It's Vanderbilt. 16th at 41%. So you actually have, in effect, a team that makes 41% of its threes and a team that gives up 41% of its threes. It's like a match made in heaven. And if you want to get to the rim, which again, point distribution from Kentucky, number 1 in the SEC from 3-point range, versus a team that's going to let you shoot the 3-point shot, versus a team that you can make the 3-point shot against. The distribution of 2 points is 15th out of 16 for Kentucky, where you know they want to take the 3-point shot, and they can do it at elite level damage tonight against Vanderbilt's defense. But if you do want to get to the rim, you know who's the worst in SEC play defending at the rim? It's the Vanderbilt defense once again. So Kentucky should be able to do whatever they want to Vanderbilt tonight. You just got to hope, because Kentucky likes to play with tempo. Vanderbilt, not so much per se. You just need Vanderbilt to stick around. You just need a running mate, because that is a high number at 84.5. But it feels like the right move at that point. It does. It really does. Now, what's this one? Sometimes I have, a scrambled down notes here, which I actually say to myself, like, oh, you know what? What team is that actually I'm talking about? I have something scribbled down at -1.5. Scribbled. I don't even know what that is. So I'm not even going to bring it up. I got to go. Oh, okay. Yeah, no really time to handicap it. But the scribble is SMU. I don't care that they're a heavy public favorite tonight. I don't care. They're -1.5. The total is 145.5. SMU is going to beat Notre Dame at Notre Dame tonight. How about that? If you are sharp as they come, you're probably taking Notre Dame. Not tonight, people. Ride with the public. SMU on the road at the Joyce Center knocks off Notre Dame and covers the 2-point spread. Thanks for tuning in to a Wednesday today. For JP Behind the Wheels of Steel with your boy down the right side, Solo Mission. We'll be back tomorrow on a Thursday. Let's see how well we did in college basketball. See you then.
Being a SportsGrid listener doesn't make life perfect.
But it'll do till perfect comes along.
We're the home